My name is Frank. I'm 51, but the ladies cannot help but stop and stare. For 14 years, I did Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Became an OG before you could post, like, or share.
Right.
Round table nights, they call me sir because I own a chair.
Per.
You understand?
Hello, welcome to a brand new episode of Tea With Tay pod. You know, say the tea no sweet, the not be Tea With Tay. Guys, I'm so excited to have this particular guest in the studio today. I watched him growing up. You know when I always say I watched somebody growing up? This one, I watch him growing up. It's so interesting. This particular person has made more millionaires than even the lottery. I swear. You probably know more millionaires than the lottery.
I think the odds of the lottery are too slim compared to game shows.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You killed it back in the day.
Thanks.
And I'm still killing it now.
Thank
Guys, in my studio today, I have Frank Edoho.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
The Savage Frank.
We're just going to dive right into it.
No, well, I'm not going to go there. We do background checks here. We start from your family, how you were raised, But I just have to drop it there.
You see me? I just dropped
that pasty deal. How are you?
I'm fine.
I'm trying to call you Uncle Frank. Oh.
No. Call me. Okay, try it.
Mr. Frank.
No. Try it. Frank. Just say, hi, Frank.
Hi. My mouth cannot talk it.
No, you have to. It's broadcasting. That's a tenet. One of the rules of broadcasting is you must refer to each other on first name basis.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead.
Hi.
Okay.
I did joke.
I know that.
But Uncle Frank, like when I was in primary school, you were already a superstar on TV. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire was already trending. You were already on Uncle Tours then. So imagine now. But that's it. That's
another racket.
Okay, so Frank Edoho is in the building today, and I'm so happy that you indulged me, because when I asked you to come, you're like, oh yeah, sure, let's do that. I was thinking that, maybe you're like, what are you doing? Who's this person? But,
No. I used to watch you now. I used to watch that your tea thing.
Yeah.
Oh, man. That thing brings me joy. And when you drop the knowledge, you drop one nugget like that, the next thing I hear is...
It's going. Once I sip, we're going.
I know. I know.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for always... I see your comments and I'm always very happy, that you indulge it. No, I feel seen.
I feel that the generation of... You guys are more creative than my generation.
Mm.
Yes, I feel so. I think it was a necessity for it to happen like that because in our generation, we didn't have the internet. So what are we getting creative for? We're only creative for, particular mediums like it's terrestrial TV.
Yeah.
Everybody will run home to watch.
Right.
But now we have so much alternatives. And because the internet is so vast, you have many platforms,
right.
Content has to be created. Content is king.
I feel like in my generation is the competition that makes us this extremely creative, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think back in the day, if you produced a show, if you created a show like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, this would air for like a season, and you're in your house chilling.
Exactly.
But now we need content in real time.
No. You need to churn it out.
May the best content creator win.
Exactly.
But that in itself is also stressful because it doesn't allow the creator breathe enough. Like as back in the day, I was talking to somebody who was in old Nollywood, and I mean they worked hard. But when you shoot a movie, you shot maybe across 3 weeks in Enugu or somewhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
It airs, they are relevant for another 1 year, 2 years. People are still talking about the movie if it's great.
If it's great, yeah.
But now you have to do a movie, be on social media promoting that movie, creating content every day to stay relevant.
Look.
I wish I came from your time.
No, yeah. The thing is, our time, we didn't need to. All we had to tell you is you know what? The R&D is in the movie.
Yeah.
Sandra Achum's is going to cry.
Yes.
And Genevieve and Omotola are going to provide eye candy, even if they are wonderful thespians, and that was kind of enough because we didn't have those platforms.
Mm-hmm.
But now you can't just have a platform just lying fallow. You guys have to create content, and you guys are doing it, and it's just going. I think you draw inspiration too from foreign content creators
Yeah.
that's, started this. So you guys, then we now take something that applies to our locality. So yeah, I mean, it's competition, but you guys are more creative
Yeah,
than we are.
thank you.
Yeah.
I feel like one of the perks of being a social media creator in this time is like there's almost no gatekeeping, and that's one of the most beautiful
Yes.
things about social media. And I tell anybody who's a creative, just get on your phone.
That's
Because
all.
back in the day, you need somebody to co-sign you, you need
Look.
somebody to give you an opportunity.
Look.
There are people from back in the day who could have been great singers, great actors, who just never had the opportunity. But with one video on your phone, you can do anything.
You can do anything.
You can express.
Those days, we used to take proposals and pitches to the NT, maybe private radio station, radio TV stations, and they have to approve it. What the TV stations should have done then was to imbibe very creative content and concepts, and they put it there and say, okay, let's see how it goes. But it was very difficult to pass through the eye of the needle in terms of getting your project green lit.
Yeah.
Then they will now start, okay, you are going to pay to air it.
Right.
Either you pay to air or, you come into some sort of partnership.
Yeah.
But then you'll be monitored, and they will now tell you, hey, so before it gets to the air, I'm sure most of your content will be watered down.
Yes.
They'll be like, okay, so we are not supposed to do this. But now you are free. You just go, know what?
Autonomy, yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I want to show someone jumping a Koyi Link bridge into the water.
Yes.
And I want someone to film it from inside the water, but stuff like that. So there are a wide range of possibilities.
Yeah, I'm so glad. I'm going to get back into this, but here we do background checks. My people like background checks.
Okay, go ahead.
Background checks is us getting into your life. Who is the Frank Edoho that made this Frank Edoho? I want to know the boy Frank. Tell me about your childhood growing up.
Oh, so I was born in Kano State, Sabongeri, Kano. I still remember where we used to stay, 45 8 King Road, Sabongeri, Kano. And so I attended a school that was headed by British lady, Sister Bridget, if I remember. It's like a missionary school, St. Louis Primary School.
Interesting.
In Kano, yeah. So I think that's where I got my foundation, apart from my father being an orator and my mom being a bookworm. My mom would buy magazines, buy novels and everything, and we started reading. So I started reading all these James Hadley Chase novels. Even Nigerian novels. Helen Obiageli was one of my favorite from Pace Setters.
Yeah.
And Dan Fulani. There was one guy called Dan Fulani. The guy could write his ass off. So I think that childhood is the thing that sculptured my desire to go. I knew I would be something that everybody would know, but as a kid, I didn't know
what exactly
it was. But my father was an orator. My father is the kind of person, he used to work with NEPA. Then my mom worked in the bank, then she left the bank and everything. But my father, an orator, he would call us to do a book review of Things Fall Apart. So till date, I've not read Things Fall Apart because I know the whole story, because my dad did a book review with us. And he would go, Ikemefuna. Was you be doing this? Then my kid brother would be looking at me, why is he talking like that?
So that wasn't really interested in... You were more interested in what he was doing then?
Yes, I was just interested in the story and the way he was, he was narrating the thing as if he wrote the damn book himself. Yeah. So he did that one book review with us, and we just listened to him. So I think he bequeathed some of his communication skills. My father would tell you do something wrong, say you don't even have the moral compunction to show remorse.
I know someone
that kind
like
of thing.
Yeah.
Then this one, he will say, they'll say, oh, what about, you're talking like this about your son. What about your daughter? I say, she's completely off the rails.
At
That's
that time, the
that's
usage at that time.
That's the English my dad
Yes.
used to speak. So I wanted to be like that.
And you know the amount of influence our parents have on us that we don't, or just even growing up in certain environments, right? Because it could have gone another way for you if you didn't have such parents who were very involved.
Exactly.
And even the community of teachers that you had.
Yeah.
Because when I watch you, I'm just like, this thing no be today starts.
Exactly. But I always think about that. I said, okay, you know what? If my father wasn't like that, what would I be? Was he the one that instilled it in me, or he was merely pointing me to that direction? So I think of all those things all together. I feel that nobody was born with talent. That's what I feel.
You think so? Guys, I just had to break a little because Mr. Frank Edoho came on this set and indulged me and said, you know, Temi-san, try some alcohol. So the conversation is going to be very different today, very relaxed, you know. So let's continue.
Let's continue.
So if you see me, they move one kind, you're like, what's wrong with Temi-san? You know, I'm always very normal, but yeah. So I'm saying that community would always build a child. So I think that the only reason I can speak proper English today is because I had a teacher. His name is Mr. Sonny. Shout out to Mr. Sonny. And when we were back in the day, right, where even in class we were speaking pidgin English. But I don't know where he schooled. He was just so passionate about English. Like he would come and do like oral English, like transcriptions, fricatives, diphthongs. And he was
at that age.
Yeah, but he was so intense, right? Nobody else cared for it but me.
Oh,
I don't know. I was so intrigued by it. Like literature is also he doubled as a literature teacher, right? So we would read books, Purple Hibiscus. Like we read so many books that I just liked what the books did to me. Like he made me escape from my reality as a child in worry.
Exactly.
But I didn't know that it was preparing me for a career that God was going to give me. So I think that our destiny is also shaped by the people around us, and God intentionally brings those people to groom us. We don't know that we're getting groomed, but that's what it was. Because how would I know that? How would I have believed that my teacher would influence my entire career? Because I don't know if you speak English if I had for this career.
That is what I'm saying. So the instincts, I feel, like I said, nobody's born with talent, but you have instincts and you have preferences. So as a kid, if you are not exposed to a wide spectrum of possibilities, you won't know which direction. But if it's limited, you have to stick to it. And that's why some people, they're just, they're just cocooned in something that not that they enjoy, they're just doing it.
Right.
Just doing it. But if they expose you, like I said, to something very, all kinds of art, all kinds of possibilities, then you will now know the one that you resonate, and you resonated with communication, speaking English. Yeah. I had even in my when I finished secondary school, I went to a jam lesson in Kano. I met one guy. That guy was another orator. You understand? So he talks. This is how he talks. He says, "You are aggressive." He said, "I think you are aggressive to the core, bumptious to the brim, and might I add, obdurate to the point of fault."
But Uncle Frank.
Go ahead.
That one I won't set to speak English and flex that time. All this kind of English and big thing. You know that there's a clip from Ketensha where she was saying it's so capricious, something.
Capricious.
In those ends, right? In those days, right? It was a thing that you should speak such English.
Yes.
Right now, if you speak that kind of English for Gen Z, they'll be like, "Who this fool?"
Yeah. But you see the way I do it, because I think I want people that I resonate even with the Gen Z and everything. If it's Gen Z language, I know it, but I will not just do Gen Z. I'll do Gen Z with a tint of something else to see if I can affect anybody to, be interested in communicating that way.
But I'm not even invalidating what you learned at the time. I'm saying that in your time, I'm sure that speaking well was something that people paid attention to. People could spell correctly. Now with my own generation, some people, if they don't have autocorrect, they can't spell.
Your generation has been spoiled by technology.
Yes, I'm saying that. But back in the days, like you could you could spell anything. You could speak
Yes,
well.
you
Your
could-
sentences were correct. You were so
Yes.
intentional. In fact, you were faulted for speaking
Yes,
wrongly.
you can't just speak in the right way. You
Yeah.
can't just say, come to the class and just say, hello, welcome. This is the
Yes.
program we are doing. No, you say it differently. I'm enthused upon the prospect of standing in front of an audience and emoting my intelligence.
Right.
Stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah, and you know how I do it? It's the simplest thing. People think it's, no. Simplest thing. Stop going to the dictionary. Go to the thesaurus dictionary.
Thesaurus.
The thesaurus. So the thesaurus gives you words opposite in meaning, words similar in meaning.
I read all of that.
So if instead of saying I was afraid, just say, man, I was petrified for my life.
So let me tell you, Uncle Frank, Uncle Frank. Back in the day in Warri, right? I used to read a lot of books, right? You know.
Is it those classic books? Those
like novels. Like
novels,
you know what it helps with your vocabulary. Like over time, the more you read, the more you expand it, right? So one night I go to my cousins and I think we were sleeping outside of something. There was no light. So I woke up sweating. I'm like, there's a lot of perspiration. My cousin. My cousin said, they say, this one is Chris. This is a Warri household where that's not the go-to, right? But they were just so like intrigued, like, where's this one and this one's from? I just knew that my vocabulary was changing by my constant reading. So I became even more interested in learning, right?
Very good.
And I think that even that in itself has influenced who I don't even think I read as much as I used to anymore.
Yeah. Because of, me too. I'm guilty of that. As a matter of fact, I was thinking of that exactly yesterday. I said, I need to read. So I saw...
You have a lot of reading in your head. There's no English. No English where you find again, Uncle Frank.
I need to read more. Because if you don't, the brain is... I need to exercise like a muscle.
Yeah.
You know, so that you get new insights and everything. Otherwise, you'll be sticking to what you've read, which is fading away.
Yeah.
Fading away a bit. So if you replenish... they now link, the memories are now regenerated.
Right.
And you go, so you have to exercise.
That's why you can... So when people say they read and they don't understand, I feel like you can read something and only when you need that knowledge, that it just comes up. Even words, like there's some words I started using after a while and I'm just like, this was not always there, but because I'd read it somewhere.
Thank you.
I need it right now. The brain has brought it up.
Yes, the brain is the computer.
Yeah.
So you don't only doesn't need a keyboard and an enter button to get the information. So if you exercise it enough, you get the information at the speed of light.
Amazing. So I'm actually interested in what informed this career. Where did the career path start from? Was it post-secondary school? Did you always know that you're going to be a broadcaster?
No, actually. So let me tell you, when I was in secondary school, I was ashamed of my voice. Yes, I was. Because I was a 14-year-old boy that my voice was too deep. Even the voice I'm talking to you now, that is not my voice. I have to take it octaves, not down, up. Because if I take it down to be deeper, I go high. Because those days, this is what happens. I go into the store. I want to buy something. There are many people there. I just say, hi. I would like to get everybody. They just turn. So it was embarrassing me. So I said, all right, let me take it 2 octaves. So I go, how far? That's not my real voice.
Please, what's your real voice?
This is my real voice. That's the voice.
So do you know what's so interesting? That something that was embarrassing for you would make you into somebody that...
It was embarrassing for me the way
they reacted to
it. A 14-year-old boy or 12-year-old boy will start seeing pubic hair and all that, and people will see, and your mates will say,
yeah.
So imagine a voice like.
So like with all the influence that you had from like your family, the people that taught you in school, was it already set in stone that you're going to become like a broadcaster or...
Yeah, well, I just knew I was going to be something in that line. But the problem with that time is, our parents they had the perfect trifecta for what profession you should embark upon.
Lawyer, engineer.
That's it. Especially my father. ironically. So they
what
were.
did they want you to become?
My father wanted me to be a doctor because I was a science student.
You were a science student.
Yeah, science student.
So where did the other literature come from?
Where did
So
what?
you read the literature at home, not
Yeah, at home. I was. I didn't go for any, training in broadcasting until year 2000 when I worked with Radio Nigeria. They sent me on training for 3 months. It's called Basic Announcers Course.
Mm-hmm.
So 3 months. Now it's called FRCN Academy.
Mm-hmm.
So there I learned like the tenets of proper broadcasting. So I read news reading, sports commentary, voicing documentaries and stuff like that. So I learned the whole gamut of broadcasting. And when they employed me, so they employed me before they sent me on training. And
So did it come naturally to you when you were doing it? Was it, so did you have a moment where you're like, aha, this is what I was supposed to be doing?
Yes, I did. So when I was in school in Calabar, I was in the University of Calabar, I eventually studied animal science because that was closest, that was striking distance within medicine, animal science, medicine.
Mr. Frank, animal science,
Mhm.
now the course, what did they give people we don't do cutoff mark as a doctor?
Yes. No. Actually, they give you anatomy.
Right.
All those paramedical
It's
courses.
the same.
So I left the whole this thing. I went to agriculture. That's where animal science is embedded as.
What did your parents think about that?
My dad, he was infuriated. But the thing is, while I was doing animal science, concurrently,
Mhm.
I was doing broadcasting.
So you took the animal science.
I took the animal science.
This is my theory. This is my theory for superstars, right?
Mm.
If you get into a Nigerian university, God will play chess with your life to the point where they will give you a useless course so you can have enough time. And I'm not saying I studied a useless course. Sorry to Unilag lecturers.
What course did you study?
So I was studying law at some point and I moved to history.
No, that's
history
okay.
is brilliant, but it just offered me more time to chase other things while I was in school. Because if I'd continued with law, I would have had to finish law before I start working on my own career.
And you can't combine, you can't multitask with that.
There was no way.
TA,
the comedian,
studied Yoruba.
It's a lie. So I feel like at that time, making no blessing will not go to school.
Yes, that's it. So that's the thing. We always like, oh, okay, you know what? Let's just do our parents' biddings.
Yes.
You understand? So, but I was doing broadcast, I was stubborn, I was, and do you know that the theater arts, I became the campus MC at the University of Calabar. So I think that's where I really learned how to be an MC.
Right.
Because there was one music awards night that we did, Unical Music Awards night.
Mm-hmm.
Or Unical Awards night.
Mm-hmm. Then
there's a guy called Dolly Popman. He's an Akwa Ibomite. He gave me the chance to host it. You understand? Mm-hmm. And that time, I was in school. But the University of Calabar stage is such that when you come on stage, the first thing that will greet you, they will toss missiles at you or insult the heck out of you to test your grit.
Yes.
So when I came, already I used to rap in school. I was a rapper. Yeah. Oh, you've not heard
the layers?
No. There's a rap that I did with Rugged Man came last year and told me, hey, I want to release one song, but I want you guys to do like a challenge. Mm-hmm. So just a stanza or a verse of a rap of using the same beat that I use. So he called Macaroni, Yabo Joe, who else? This guy that actors and everything. Yeah. But I took it personally.
Freestyle,
I took it personally because I am a rapper. I was a rapper in school, and in terms of challenges, I go above and beyond. So while other people were doing, hey, this, I went. So he said, okay, he will write for me because I said, I don't know if I can still write. So he'll write for me. He wrote. I said, what kind of whack writing is this?
I feel like the best rappers are the best orators. They're literal, like they understand. Because for you to deliver words that would trigger me to think deeply,
To think deep.
it means that you also understand your pen game.
Yes.
So I don't think rapping is for people who are not even smart. So sorry.
So it's the title was OG before IG.
Right.
So, I said it. So I went, my name is Frank, I'm 51, but the ladies cannot help but stop and stare. For 14 years, I did Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Became an OG before you could post, like, or share.
Right.
Round table nights, they call me sir because I own a chair.
Per.
You understand? then I now flip it as a Gen Zs. They see me, they holla. Savage on Twitter, wahala. Before endorsements, I was shooting ads in Kampala. Tertiary in Calabar. CDs from Alaba. I used to buy CDs. And, still on speed dial with OBO Burner and Machala. Palava. Nigerian TV king, the mic's on fire. Retire, no sire, still they ball, I know they tire. My friends, Two-Face Timaya. With Rugged Man, I cook fire. These OGs going higher. Then thing goes. Rugged Man said, what? Rugged Man said, what the? Rugged Man said, Frank, you want to wax an album? Yeah. I said that. I said,
how long did it take you to write that?
It took me like probably 10 minutes. I used to be an MC in school. I used to rap in school. Look, as a rapper, I used to do covers of rappers. Yeah. So like KRS-One, don't give me this, don't give me that, don't give me come back, you turn to the back, or even.
So that was what you were really known for back in the day.
Yeah, I was known as Frank MC. Yeah. In school, but I can't say money no did that side. So I said, okay, let me pivot towards broadcasting.
Right.
Because the next thing is everybody's saying your voice. Okay, let me go do an audition in Cross River Radio. So I went there. I said, hey, I want to do an audition. And the guy said, all right, come inside with a bored look, read this script, all right, let's hear what you got. So I went into the thing and I just said, hi, welcome to it. The guy, no, come out. I'm like, I've not even finished the script. The guy looked at me. I'm very stupid. Start on Monday.
Energy.
That's it.
You know what you find?
I remember his name, Freedom Ejom, in Cross River Radio.
What did I just find?
He said, eh?
Was the pay good? Like, was it?
No, I wasn't paid for a decade. You see the thing. Let me tell you. Tell me something. Here's the theory. It's not about that. Now, if you have they say if you enjoy your work, you'll never work in a day in your life.
Yes.
Okay, so now, for you, if you think of this, you are doing work and you have passion. What's happening? You're not paid, but the passion pays you. And you're going and you're just doing it because of passion. But unbeknownst to you, you are growing in your craft. So by the time I left school and I came to Lagos, I left school in Calabar, came to Lagos. So I went to Encomium. I wanted to be a columnist, radio presenter, TV presenter. So I went to Encomium magazine.
I wrote for them?
I said I wanted to write for them. So, what do you mean? I said, let me show you my articles. I showed you. The guy said, plagiarism is a serious crime. You wrote this thing. You don't believe. So that was Azu Arinze.
Yeah.
So, he said he has another magazine for me. He gave me that one. Then I went to DBN TV. But while I got there, I said this story before. I went to Encomium. I told Azu Arinze that I work with DBN TV. No. So when I got, he said, okay, he's going to publish the articles and everything. I went to DBN TV. I said, I work at Encomium. I said, I need an audition. They said, who do you think? You come, even people that come, you don't this. And I said, oh, God, give me the audition. Let's see. All this talk you're talking, you keep quiet.
Were you always confident because...
Yeah, I was confident because everywhere I go, people would tell me, damn, oh my God, have a good voice. Damn, you have a good voice. So
please walk me through that moment when you realized that this voice that, as a 14-year-old, you were embarrassed about. When was the moment that you realized that this is the same voice that's about to change the game for me?
Oh, that's a very good question. I think when I did that audition,
When the man ran out of the
The man did not. I literally, maybe they gave me the Gettysburg speech. I said, okay, fourscore and 7 years ago, our forefathers brought upon this continent a great nation. One conceived in boom, 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 boom. I've not even gotten to finish the first paragraph. The guy was frantic. I said, Jesus, am I that bad? So all these people have been lying to me.
Yeah.
I said, come outside. Freedom, that's how he behaves. Freedom. He said, come outside. I went outside. I said, sir, I could, if you waited for me, I would get into this. He said, get into what? Where have you been? Start on Monday. 1 hour program, blah, 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 blah. That's how.
So you did 10 years in Calabar?
Yeah. I was in school then. That was 1991.
Yeah.
1991. So I graduated. I graduated in 98.
1998.
Yeah.
It's too far back. Problem.
1998. So when I told someone this story, one lady, she started laughing. I said, what? He said, when did you graduate? I said, 1998. She said, I wasn't born then. I wasn't born.
1998.
Yeah.
So I want to know what the landscape for like media and entertainment was back in the day. Like,
no, it was non-existent. You had to go through the structure. So the structure is that you are going to understudy. That'd be a reporter if you're in the news segment. So you'd be a reporter and you're going to be getting stories until one day you are given a shot to take the news. And before then, you must have trained. You must have been a trained news reader. That's how you get up the ladder.
I feel like that was like the biggest entertainment job at the time. Like when you're looking forward to being on TV, you're not looking, even being when you say media personality now, it's still vague, right? At that time, you're either a broadcaster, you read the news,
exactly.
you were on radio.
Exactly.
So those were the people that people wanted to be.
Look, I had mentors there. I had Maurice Enoch. That guy's voice is silkier than mine. Beautiful, and he's well-spoken. And he calls himself Dr. Groove. He used to present jazz programs. Then used to run segments and all that. There's another one called Felix Ibiang. That one was an all-rounder. What he says, he was beyond his years. And we had Etoma Edu. Etoma Edu is the reason. He came to Lagos. He came to Silverbird also and worked for a while. Right. Etoma Edu. Etoma Edu is responsible for me wanting to be an MC because in 1989, he MC'd Miss Polytechnic Calabar, Miss Polycal. So I went to the theater and I saw him. And that's when, because I just finished secondary school, 1989. So I think in 1990, they did that pageant. I went, I said, this is what I can do. I just liked it because the guys had charisma and all that. You go on stage and just say, hey, you say, hello, everybody. You say something like, this was what Olisa Adiba taught me. He said, Olisa Adiba said, hi, everybody. You're looking at me. I'm the host for this event. You know why? He said the client, they wanted a handsome man, well-spoken, well-dressed, and voice, beautiful, sonorous voice to talk to. But they couldn't find him, so they got me to do the thing, So he had charisma. You have to have charisma. You have to have, at that young age, I knew I had to develop wit, humor. I have to have anecdotes. I have to have stories. I have to get a lot of stories in my head so that I'll know what to do.
Yeah, at
on
every
the spur
point
of the moment. So that is how I just developed. But the point was that audition when the guy just said this, and I said, okay, fine.
Amazing. Fast forward to like you live in Lagos and
no, don't fast forward yet because in Calabar, really, I went NTA Channel 9. We didn't have breakfast television,
right?
So some young guys now came together, brought money together, bought airtime for Saturday and Sunday mornings, 3 hours, and they were looking for presenters. So they got a couple of presenters. One guy called Paul Nya. The second person, she's schooled in Calabar and she's an actress now.
Kate?
No. Nse Betum.
My Inse.
Nse is a great broadcaster.
She was.
Nse.
I've never seen any clip or nothing.
No. What were we going to use to record the clips?
When Inse would tell me, say, in my days, I'm trying to, because I don't know anything about it.
Broadcaster. Nse, impeccable. Me and Nse, when we banter, the people from NTA Calabar were like, who are these children? Do you understand? Because Nse would say something. We used to banter ourselves a lot. So we were like, oh, well, everything was going fine until the cat dragged in Frank.
Right. She's witty like that.
The cat dragged in, Frank. Then I'll say something like, and the cat left, but he seemed to have left his claws on you, And we used to do stuff like that. And, that's when I knew that, for you to have a partner in broadcasting, for you to do co-presentation, you have to allow your partner be. You can't be seen to contest, but our banter endeared us to a lot of people. People were like, oh, he said, today you were soft on Nse. What happened? Do you understand? People would tell me stop me on the street. Yeah.
So you guys were like the stars of Calabar at the time.
Nse, emceeing, presentation, and even acting, because she was doing stage acting that time. She was theatre arts department, University of Calabar. So we used to MC shows together. She's an all-rounder.
Yes, she is.
Yeah, and she's still my dear friend and her husband. So, I used to call her and say, do you remember this? I say, come back to broadcasting.
She's a vibe,
Yeah. She's okay. So that thing got me more popularity than radio did.
Because they were seeing you.
They were seeing me. They were like, oh, so that's him.
Right.
That's him. And also, someone told me that the thing why he knows I'll go very far, apart from my voice and everything, he said on TV, people will just be looking at me. They don't know why they are looking at me. He said you have that allure.
Right.
So, but don't rest on your oars. Don't be just a face on TV. Have things to say.
Right.
So that's when reading was very essential.
I tell everybody who cares to listen, if you're going to be in the public space, read some books.
No. You have to read a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. Let me give you an example. I was hosting this event by MTN many years ago in Abuja. Now, MTN had this project they were doing. So you have to nominate in your community what your community needs. Is it a borehole or a transformer? Borehole or transformer? Now when you alert MTN that, oh, my community actually needs a transformer, they name you are the numerator.
Right.
You are the nominator, sorry.
Right.
You are the nominator. So that means you nominated your community. So MTN will now go and investigate and find out, oh, they really need a borehole or they really need a transformer. MTN will now buy it for them. So I hosted the event when MTN has supplied all the transformers and the boreholes. They now invited the nominators, the people that nominated. They came and their projects were approved, their nominations were approved. So during the event, I was hosting the event. I just want to give you an example of what spur of the moment knowledge can help you with.
Right.
So they told the nominators from all over Nigeria, they said, hey, come, you know what you're going to do? They said, come, let's take pictures from the 6 geopolitical zones. So they started, first geopolitical zone, this, and everything. But the first group came, there was a boy there. One nominator brought his son, small boy. They all went back, but the boy did not go back. Another group of nominators came. The boy was still there. The boy snapped with all of them. And I was looking, something, an idea just came to my head. So when they finished, I'm like, a round of applause for all the nominators. I said, did you notice what happened? The boy, I said, from the first set of nominators that came for a photograph, this boy was there. But afterwards, he became part of every picture with the nominators. So I can tell you that in all the pictures of the nominators, this boy was the common denominator.
Oh, that's so cool.
Do you understand?
I would have clapped.
Yeah. They all, they paused to let it gel.
Yes.
So you can't get that if you don't read.
I'm telling you.
That's it.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you
And
know.
that's where I get all the so-called savagery.
So you know. When I look at your career, when I look at the things that you say on Twitter, you know, when they say, let's say marinates, the years of work has marinated so much so that if you are having a conversation, there's almost 30 years of knowledge to pull from.
That's it. And most of the knowledge is by what you watch, what you read. Mostly what you read, actually.
Yes.
Mostly what you read. Now, for instance, if you're doing a podcast, you can't do a podcast without watching the 5 top podcasts in the world. Uh-oh. You can't.
This one is inspiration from the Holy Spirit, so Uncle Frank.
Oh, nice.
No, but I have my top podcaster, but I don't think I'm watching the top 5.
No. You have to, because when I started Who Wants to Be a Millionaire,
right,
I said nobody's going to unseat me. How? So that means I have to be
top of your
better
game
than anybody that came from nowhere.
Right.
And because Who Wants to Be a Millionaire used to be presented by older people, the whole world. The US, Regis Philbin. In India, Amitabh Bachchan, that great actor that I used to watch when I was a kid, you know. In the UK, where it originated, Chris Tarrant. And these people were like 60 years old. Like, Wants to Be a Millionaire, I was 30-something. You know. So I started studying top presenters.
Right.
I said, who do I like? Who do I gravitate towards? So I loved Jeremy Clarkson on Top Gear. Jeremy Clarkson, James May, Richard Hammond. You understand? Jeremy Clarkson, those guys are good. I used to watch Ryan Seacrest when he used to do Idols. Then he had a radio show called American Top 40.
Right.
I used to do it. When I was in the university, I used to listen to American Top 40. And it was presented by this guy called Shadow Stevens, black guy. So when they started to go, American Top 40, then the guy, it's the Shadow, you know. Then he goes, hey, all right, so you know what? We have 40 slots and it's time to count them down. I was listening to radio shows that were not prevalent in Nigeria.
Right.
So if you want to expand, you have to see what's happening
outside.
In your outside. Yeah. Then you will now, your mind will expand. And before you know it, you start sounding differently. Alluding to what you said when that your reading made you to say, oh, perspiration and all that. Yeah. So automatically you start being them. So while people were sleeping, I was watching Ryan Seacrest, Jeremy Clarkson. I was watching Meredith Vieira. I was watching Regis Philbin. I said, why is he doing that? I'll go back again. Why is he doing that? Oh, then I'll see an old man that's supposed to have retired. Why is he presenting a game show? Then the show starts. I'm like, oh, that's why.
Because this was before you got the gig.
No, this was when I got the gig. You see, it's not getting the gig. That is the thing.
Sustaining the gig.
It's sustaining the gig. How are you going to do Wants to Be a Millionaire for 14 years, and you do Wants to Be a Millionaire and you are not unseated, even with some scandals that...
Were there people auditioning for your job?
No, the thing is, people, because the program was now in the limelight, of course, sponsored by MTN. So they thought they could, maybe bring in, when MTN came on board, they were like, okay, let's change everything. They would decide doing it twice a week. So they brought some older guys to come and audition. And it was disastrous for them because, you just can't come and... Because my method of present... I'm one of the first few guys who start the show and say, hi, folks, welcome. That time, you understand? Because I was watching foreign presenters. I was watching foreign presenters. So
you're not playing in local leagues with them?
No. Not, please, apologies to our presenters here in Nigeria because I learned a lot from them. All the John Momos, the Sienna Razak Lawals, the Ruth Benemesias, Elizabeth Nze Uzoku, Veronica Osawore, Joan Susan, Cyril Stober, Kalu Otisi. I learned from all of them.
Right.
But for me to do an international show,
Right.
I had to go international.
Right.
And that's watching people and just taking the traits here. So I can have the charm of Harvey Specter,
Mm-hmm.
the dark humor of House from MD House.
Mm-hmm.
Then I could also imbibe a little bit of Frank Olize,
Mm-hmm.
his wit. Then I'll just take from here, take from here, take from here,
Mm-hmm.
take from here. I could take the vocabulary range of Paul Adefarasin. Maybe not Chris Okoti, because Chris Okoti is
It was a little.
it's hard. You understand? But Paul Adefarasin, yes, the way then I could go to the simplicity of, somebody like Joel Osteen.
Right.
So it's different. You have to, if you don't study your contemporaries
Mm-hmm.
and see what makes them tick, before you know it, you take here.
Mm-hmm.
So I took from everybody, and I had somebody walk up to me and said, a veteran broadcaster said, "You are absolutely amazing." And the guy that was saying didn't know I stole some of his stuff.
Yeah. But
So-
you had like different things to create a
different
masterpiece.
things. So it's all about the passion driving me.
So please tell me how you got the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire gig? Like,
Okay, so I was working with Radio Nigeria. This was in 2003. I had worked for Radio Nigeria for 3 years.
mm-hmm.
So I have one programs. When I first got to Radio Nigeria after the training, they had shifts already.
Mm-hmm.
There was a new DG in town, Eddie Iro. He's also a famed writer. Then he was the DG of FRCN. He brought change. Before we used to do duty continuity announcer.
Mm-hmm.
That means your duty is just play tapes, play music, then just say, all right, so, in the next hour, we're going to, there's a guy that's coming to present this, blah, blah, blah. And that's duty continuity announcer.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he changed the whole thing so that, this OAP thing will happen, or a personality.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a shift, a personality, same day, same week, day, every day, you are on that belt.
Show,
and
basically.
Everybody, you now develop a fan base.
Mm-hmm.
So they put me at the graveyard shift. Radio Nigeria is close to the graveyard in Ikoyi.
Right.
So from 6, 7 o'clock till midnight, we call it the graveyard shift, literally. And nobody used to listen to it. And that's where they put me. So I was enraged. I said, I'm just fresh off training school. Why are you putting me there? I went to Ilemi Okoka, my programs manager. And you know what she said? I remember it till this day. She said, hey, listen to me. A new kid on the block.
Mm-hmm.
If you give yourself time, you are going to lead. You are going to be the foremost person. Not only the foremost person, I believe when you leave here, you will make a mark for yourself. But you haven't made that mark yet. They give you the graveyard shift. What are you going to do with it? I said, bury myself. She said,
better raise the dead.
She said, no. That's what she said. Raise the dead. I said, really? He said, do you think that people don't listen to it because they don't have time to listen, or because what's there is not refreshing enough for them? So go and do something. So I said, all right. That was when the GSM came out first. I said, all right, I'm going to do a text message program. It's called Cruise Control. And I just play great music, played 3 great tracks. I have 2 hours every weekday, Cruise Control. I look for a signature tune. I use Earl Clues, Sunset Island. I did it and everything. It was a hit. People used to listen to it. I went to Standard Chartered Bank one time, and I just said, hey, hi, I want to withdraw some money. That time, no transfer. I want to withdraw some money and blah, 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 and everything. Now, I was talking with 2 octaves up. Remember when I told you I can't use my real voice? But, but when I whisper, I tend to go back to natural settings. So the guy, I said something. I said, hey, excuse me. Do you think the girl looked?
Are you the one?
Like this. I said, what's wrong? I said, does this guy think I'm going to rob the bank or what? I said, what's wrong? I said, no, nothing. Just sign. Don't worry. Sign. Before you knew, people came out. Hey, are you Frank? Are you Frank? I said, yes, I am. He said, we listen to your program. When we're going in hold up, we go with the boss. Everybody knows you and everything. So that's when I said, oh, so I'm really onto something. So the DG said, there's a program in the UK called Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? By the way, I had watched this program with my friends. I was quoting with my friends at Chief Natufe. My friend, his name is
I live there.
Chief Natufe.
It's a street for the greats.
Are you serious?
I did squat. I shared a house with two of my housemates, girls. Yeah. When life won't kill me that time, Uncle Frank. I don't get money, but there was the only available house where if you rent.
Look,
was Chief Natufe.
Chief Natufe, great place. You have to walk all the way. It goes in and turn. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we're on the last house, inside, opposite the mechanic shed, like that at the end of the street. So one day I was quoting that I came out, Wants to Be a Millionaire was on the air. They said, Frank, check this program out. I looked at the program, the South African version. And that guy was like, the guy was saying, final answer? Commercial break. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. I was like, watching it. That time, I was just employed. I just got employment at Radio Nigeria. I was about to go for training. So I told my guys there's Victor, there's Enyi, and there's Morris. They bear me my testimony. They go like, hey. No, I go like, I can present this show now. So they all listen to me. Come on. I went out. 4 years later. Okay, so 2 years later, the DG now says, I have this program. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire in the UK? I want a radio version of it. And I need someone to present it. And the ED, Attila De Otoyobi, and said, the only person that can do that thing is Frank. I said, who's this Frank guy? Meanwhile, I was on the air. And they were all afraid of this DG. But there's a rule in the studio. So when you are a presenter, radio presenter, once you put on the microphone and you say, hi, welcome, I got a battery of songs for you. I've carefully curated this for the next 30 minutes just because my heart is with you. Stuff like that I'm presenting. They are, if once you start presenting, nobody should move. You're the king of the studio.
You own it, yeah.
So my producer comes. I said, what the heck is wrong with you? I'm about to go on air. He said, no. See, DJ's coming. He says he wants to come and see you. And he's coming with Senator Jonathan Zingina. I said, so how does that affect me? He said, no, the DJ is doing things. Anybody who will fire anybody. I said, fire who? Me.
You're so secure at this job.
So because I'm the king, he's my superior. Because I'm the king of the studio, I said, you know what? You're infringing my space, please. I'm getting very uncomfortable. Out. My senior, you have the right to do that. So he went
when you're on air. Yeah.
When you're on air, went out. So I saw commotion. They were coming into the studio. I could see from the glass pane. I wanted to talk. I said, no, let me postpone this thing. Sorry. Then I came in. Jonathan Zingina, Eddie Iro, with an entourage, just came in. They sat. They came in. Immediately they came in. He was all, because, when people fear you, you will now be behaving like a head. Yeah. Immediately he came in, the senator came in. I just did like this. Shh. Everybody, I just did.
So sexy.
I put on the microphone. Pam. Now we have what we call speech bands.
This was a show for you. I
was ready.
I trust you.
So, bam. Speech bands are supposed to last less than 30 seconds. I talked for 2 minutes to show that guy.
Say, who the fuck did you get talking to?
I said, hello, everybody. Of course, by the texture of my voice, you recognize who's talking. But what you don't know is I put in a little bit of an extra effort for you. Just call it the cherry on the cake. I ferreted out the best music ever from you. From what genre? You can't ask that question if you know me, because I could go from bebop to pop, from pop to hip hop. But right now, let's see, I just want to mellow things a little because the heat from the sun is scorching. I'm going to just cool you down with some sweet smelling music. The temperature is going to be very low and you are going to love it. By the way, I have some guests in the studio. So let me just start you off with a couple of songs. One is a thorough ballad no precautions. The second one, a bit of precaution. So I'm just going to build it up until we get to Prince, the guy formerly known as Prince with the new power generation. All right, are you ready? Okay.
How do you still remember these things?
You mean me? That's the thing. Reading and writing scripts. So I have scripts floating in my head.
Just speak.
Yeah. You see, if you start reading, then you start creating. You start saying, okay, how would I open this show? You start writing it and writing it out and everything. I did it for Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. The second time it came, the owners of the show wanted to see my rehearsals because they were still doubting, is this the same guy? Why? And everything. And I just came. They said, oh, Frank, those people are watching you. That's what will determine. I said, what's determine what? I said, go and sit down. They said, okay, let's put a script on the prompter for you. I said, me, prompter.
So you never used the prompter?
I never used the prompter for Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. I never used it.
You never used the prompter?
No,
all the 14 years?
I never used the prompter for 13 years. When the show came back for 1 year, they told me, we like the way you write your script. So write the scripts, put it on the prompter. They forced me. But I never, ever used it because all I have to do is I have practiced too much. I'm even trying to let it out.
Right.
So I can start something and say, all right, from the city of Lagos, country of Nigeria, this show is so phenomenal that even people from Ukraine watch the Nigerian version. It's Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, which is a silly question because who doesn't want to be a millionaire? Well, if you think you have enough wits and enough guts to face me because I can be rather draconian in my conversation, well, give us a call on 132, but it has to be an MTN line. All right, six people have the misfortune of being here to try, and
misfortune. I remember.
Yeah. I just talk things like that. So that thing that I did just now, if you give me, I can do 20 different ones now, back to back to back to
practice.
back to back, because it's practice. So it becomes second nature. Second nature. And also, you should write, as a broadcaster, you should be writing your phrases.
Right.
So if the things that you say regularly, you should write it in a different... That's why I was talking about the thesaurus earlier on. You should write it differently.
Right.
So I go, instead of people say, okay, we want to take a commercial break, we'll be right back. We'll be right back. I don't do that.
Finish, we'll be right back.
I'll be like, all right, so we have to take a pause for the cause of an MTN break.
Right.
But not to worry. While we skedaddle, we'll be back in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. Stuff like that. Now, the way I did it, because they trained me, they said, don't say something people don't understand. But now, because the internet is there, you have Google there, go and Google it and find out so that you know.
You've learned something.
You've learned something. So I used to do a lot like that.
Please take it back to the story of how you got this gig.
Okay. So auditions came. I was doing something, the Close-Up Red Hit promo, 2003. So, sorry, is that plugging? I hope I didn't plug. So anyhow, now, there was an audition. I missed that one. I didn't go. They said, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire is coming. And the studio that they are doing the audition, I wouldn't have heard it. I wouldn't have heard about the show. But the studio, I used to do voiceovers there. So the guy that used to record me said, there's a Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? I said, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire is coming to Nigeria. And I said, these people, they will have somebody that they're doing. They said, no, the audition is open. I said, when? He said, Wednesday. I said, can't make it because I have an obligation. I was doing something, and I was doing it along with D1 and Kenny Ogungbe. So we're all in concert doing it. So they did that first audition. The guy now calls me and says, hey, there's a second audition. I said, they didn't find who they were looking for. I heard the greats came there. They said, no, they're still looking. I said, I'm free. So I went there. Now, remember, I had watched the show earlier on. So when I got to the audition, I was holding the script. I was reading according to the script. They were tired at that point. They just took the script from me and said, you know what, just improvise. So I went, I said, so the first thing I said was, hi, folks. Somebody stood up. Someone from back stood up. I just said, hi, folks. Welcome to Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. My name is Frank. Are you ready to win a lot of money. Well, they say if you answer 15 questions, you could get to the apex of our money tree. But it takes a lot of guts and a lot of knowledge. And these people seem to think they have it. So let's get it started. Let's find out which among them will play first. All right. Well, you want to play? So I was remembering what that guy was doing. I said, hey, you want to play? All right, come on, let's go. And you sit there. I said, oh, well, that's all I have. Bye-bye. I left before. The guy was saying, no, don't go. I'm like, who's that rabbit? Who's the rabbit guy in the back? That was the owner of the show. So they had great people there. I think me watching the show in 2000 and in the year 2000, before the audition came, 2003, helped me.
Yeah.
It helped me because I knew what the show was all about. That's why if you want to go for anything, watch it and familiarize yourself with the environment. So they started calling me. They called me back 3 days after. But considering you with 4 other people, there are 5 of you we're considering. I said, okay, cool. Next they called me. You're now down to 3. You know what I told the guy? I said, God is trying to tell you a message about me, but you won't listen. See me? I'll do that show easy, 10 years. I said, that's what I say, easy.
Did you know it was going to span 10 years?
I didn't know. I was just talking.
Did you know it was going to be the breakout show for
I didn't even know that I was going to get it. I was just yapping.
You just the wine arm.
Just the yap. The guy now came by the next day, called me. Said, we're considering you and one other guy. I said, okay, you know what? I said, at this point, you've boosted my confidence already. So if it goes to the other guy, good luck to him, good luck to you. And I hung up. So I went and crashed, slept. Woke up in the evening around 7. My phone had like 13 missed calls from the same guy. My heart started pounding. Just called the guy back. Where have you been? I said, sorry, I was asleep and everything. Is there any problem? I saw 13 missed calls. He said, you are doing it. I'm giving you 3 months probation. If you don't do it in 3 months, well, we're changing you. Anyway, 3 months became 13 years. The rest is history, as they say. So that's how I got it.
Can I ask what that time did? Because the level of popularity that you also had gotten, I mean, you're already on TV in Calabar, right?
Yeah.
But for you to step into that space where you were doing one of the most popular shows in the country, you had built a brand from showing up on our TVs every week or every 2 weeks.
Sometimes, right? Sometimes twice a week. Friday, fresh episode. Sunday, fresh episode.
So that's the only job you probably had.
No. I was doing, because I'm a broadcaster. You see, broadcasting is multifaceted. You must learn how to earn multiple income revenue streams.
Right.
So you can't do, it teaches you because it's multifaceted. So you can better be a voiceover artist. You can be, now content is dependent now on broadcasting. You can speak well, depending on what you are doing. Just the art of communicating, no matter whether it's pidgin English, it's through jokes, it's through perfect English. You have to know how to communicate. So I was doing other things too. I was still doing producing, but Who Wants to Be a Millionaire was the thing that showed me to the world.
Yes.
Then from that, I could develop tributaries to other disciplines. Yeah, so.
Running that show for 13, 14 years changed your life.
It did.
Give me like a brief summary of what that season was for you.
So all of a sudden, I think I convinced Nigerian parents, that you could allow your child be a broadcaster. Because they're going, this guy. So I go, all what I did was I calculated everything, but I did it in a natural way. Have you watched Usual Suspects? The Usual Suspects, there's a saying in it. It's a very good movie. And it has a twist in the end. But the narrator said the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was to convince the whole world that he doesn't exist. So that's the greatest trick the devil. And in broadcasting, the greatest trick good broadcasters pull is to convince the audience that they didn't rehearse or prepare.
Ooh.
That is your mastery comes in. You have prepared. You are loaded. But you don't act, you act as if you're thinking this thing on the spur of the moment. That's what endeared me to many people because they thought, oh, you know.
So you used to rehearse a lot.
Even this,
we thought you were so good. It was so natural.
Yeah, because I learned how to show you that it's natural. But there's a lot of work in the back end. I rehearse every time. Even this podcast, I know I'm not presenting, but I am rehearsing to get into the. So I said, okay, supposing Temison asked me this question, I must know how to use my phrases and stuff like that. I must put myself in that realm so that I can sound like a broadcaster and at the same time sound entertaining.
Amazing.
Yeah. So that's what you have. You do so much work. That's one thing I found out about these foreign broadcasters. When Nigerian broadcasters, hello, when they come back from a break, the thing I hate in my life is I remain Frank Edoho. Was I supposed to change during the break?
I remain your host.
I remain your host. Why are you remaining? Why am I remaining? I hate that stuff. Then also, there's another thing everybody uses. It's legit, but some people use it over and over again during one, especially at events. Let's make welcome. It's good English. I love it. But the problem is you cannot, as a broadcaster or an MC, you cannot use it repeatedly. So you can start with, let's make welcome this man. And go, all right, it's time to illuminate our next guest with a spotlight because he deserves all the accolades.
You know, some of us are very lazy in this part, including me. I can't lie to you. Let's make welcome. I go use that 10 times if I have to. Uncle Frank, please.
Make no cause, but no pressure you.
No pressure on me. That way you don't talk and swear. Okay, I'll go back.
No. You know why I'm telling you this? I know you can do it, but you don't.
I can't lie to you. I don't think that I enjoy emceeing and.
Oh, you don't enjoy emceeing?
I don't at all.
Why? Because you have the panache for it.
Yeah.
Like if you are able to hold someone in a conversation, you should be able to.
So this is my thing. The camera, both of us, but give me a crowd. I would do it, but is this my favorite form of expression? I don't think it is.
That's because some MCs think you must get reactions every time. You're not supposed to be. Sometimes you be one MC, just be doing your MC thing. As far as you have the professionalism and everything, someone will come and shake you, say, that was a good job.
Really?
You don't have to make people laugh.
So the reactions must not be instant because sometimes we are feeding off the energy of the crowd. And you know the Nigerian crowds, if they want to disgrace you.
No, it depends on what you are MCing. Now, I MC corporate events.
Right.
So when I MC corporate events, I speak corporate language. You know, I'll say as our immense managing director has antecedents that span decades.
Right.
So if we start going into his accolades, we're going to go down a rabbit hole. I don't want to put you through that. But just know that he's well decorated and is a captain of industry. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, blah, blah.
You get vocabulary now.
Yeah, because
if I remember rabbit hole, I go down hook.
No. Because you see, you said you used to read.
Yeah.
If you read, it will just be popping out and you have rehearsed. It will be
Fair
popping
enough.
out.
I'm not going to use rabbit hole.
Then also, you don't have to sound epic in every...
Right.
Sometimes you can just, all right, okay, so let's go to the next one. She's the one. All right, round of applause for her. Yeah. You don't have to be...
I feel this is what it means to be seasoned, where there's just so much that you can pull from, and I really respect that. I was going to ask what life was post Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Because I would assume that, this was the thing that brought you to the fore, that we knew you for. And I don't think that you tried too many other things alongside that.
Okay.
You were just broadcasting and that, right? Yeah. When that ended for you, were you thrown into a frenzy? Were you worried about what the next thing was going to be? Like,
no, not exactly. Because firstly, I poured my whole soul into Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. But at the end, I think the owners, we had some misunderstanding. Right. And they gave us certain information that, because we were negotiating, when the new sponsors, when MTN pulled out, and the new sponsor came in, and we're negotiating. I said, "Hey, I'm going to be part of the earnings and stuff," and they vociferously refused. So I said, "All right." So I said, let it not be as if, the main money maker left, then I abandoned them. I said, okay. So they said they are going to even slash my remuneration. I said, okay, it's like, what are we talking about? We're still talking. Then we hadn't concluded when the new show was launched, that is by a press conference. So I think and I switched off my phone that day because we hadn't reached any conclusion. I don't want someone to tell me, come and just smile. And meanwhile, so I left. I didn't appear and everything because we had not concluded. Then all of a sudden they said, where's Frank? Someone from Punch newspaper. Where's Frank? And my guy says, well, Frank is still with us, but I don't think Frank is going to host the show again, but he's still with us. We're going to look for a younger presenter.
They tried it.
So, and before you know it, Punch said Frank Edoho dropped from Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. I said, okay, what am I going to do? Am I going to sue Punch or sue my people? I said, you know what, let me not do it like that.
Did that hurt you?
It did, because I poured my soul. I feel I was responsible for making that company billions.
Yeah, you were.
I feel so.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe they didn't feel that way. But I don't think I deserve to be treated that way.
Do you regret not putting your foot down to get what you deserved at the time? Do you think that if you probably negotiated better at the time,
I negotiated better, but
was the money good at the time?
Okay, when it
was MTN, all those years,
the money was good. Every month I was a multi-millionaire. Every month.
Amazing.
Every month.
Yeah.
But when I found out what was coming in,
obviously,
it was like a needle in a haystack. It was just very infinitesimal. But of course, they put a lot of money. Even the man that owned the show, really, we had we had growing pains and trouble when we were beginning. He even mortgaged his house when we began. But when MTN came, everything was... And that's how MTN also sponsored Project Fame.
Right.
We're still the ones doing Project Fame. So everything was... So I felt that I think I should have been treated more fairly.
Right.
No, not more fairly in terms of you giving me, all you have to do is talk to me. Don't put me out there now. So when Punch took that, I said, okay, all right, I get the message. I'm not going to do this show again. So you guys have fun. Then I now said, please, guys, support the new hosts. Then I said this. If anybody tells you that I was dropped or fired from Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, they tell you again, I'm going to provide receipts. That's all. I left. Then, that's when Twitter savagery started, because people started insulting me that's why I don't know why. So some people would say, oh, great, Frank, you're a legend, blah, blah. Some people say, yes, you're broke now. Stuff like that. And those people were just people that, they were just the scoundrels on social media that just go, they're not well trained, this, that, So when they started doing that, I kept my silence, but I found out that it was like an avalanche. It was just coming and it was snowballing into something. I said, all right, you know what? Since nobody is even talking for me, I'm going to talk for myself, and there's going to be retribution, and this is going to be a long ride. So I started taking them out one by one.
Not taking them out. So wait, Twitter for you was, you know what, I'm going to defend myself because you guys are really coming from me.
Yeah, the thing is this, Twitter, some of these people that came to Twitter, they said they think they own Twitter because of their population, but they don't, because Twitter was in our generation.
Right.
So most of my contemporaries, they left Twitter because it became acidic. I said, I'm not going to leave. I'm not going to leave. Why? Because if they do this thing and they come do it, before you know it, they'll be doing this thing in real life. So
it never got to you. Was it that you're so strong?
It got to me. It gets to me. I'm human. It gets to me, but only for a while, because I am actually someone. I'm what you call self-deprecating. Meaning that I look down on. I don't see myself as anything, because my mother, when wants to be at the top of this thing, he wants to say, "All right, we've boiled water." I said, "Mom, see, where's the food now?" And she says, "Okay, I've done the soup now." "Oh yeah, okay, we've boiled water." I said, "Okay, thank you." She said, shh, come. Thank you. What? Go and make the by yourself.
No matter who the hell you think you are on TV.
Yes, my mom will give you. You will collect at this age. So she'll say, "Go and do the eba." I said, "Mom, see you do." You say, "Go and do the eba, my friend." And I'll go and do it. Nobody sends you. So because of that background, because I know where I'm coming from, I'm very self-deprecating. So if someone throws an insult, like what I did in Bayou's show, when they throw, I'll laugh. I'm like, I'll say, that's a nice one.
Yeah.
But you better laugh when I come with my own. You will not laugh when I come with my own. So people started insulting me till even when I'm making comments, okay, Floyd Mayweather was fighting with Conor McGregor. And on DSTV Premium, there was a channel for that, dedicated for that. So when I saw their preparations, I said, hey, let Conor McGregor not come from UFC and come and beat Floyd Mayweather in boxing, because it was a boxing match. And one was a UFC fighter, the other one a boxer. I said, but the UFC fighter is training more than Floyd Mayweather. Someone now said, hey, I don't even, Nigerian self, you're acting as if you are in their camp. How do you know whether they are training? How do you know? Are you in their camp? All these people that are farms, all these wasted old presenters that farms, and he wants to be relevant.
Twitter is so vile.
He wants to be relevant again. I now answered, actually, on my premium DSTV, there is a channel dedicated for that. That's how I know. But anyway, I don't blame you, because they don't show it on GoTV. Boom.
You brought GoTV and
I brought GoTV
into the fight.
Into the guy. This team paint the guy. The guy came. God punish you. I say, Sha, change your bouquet. Change your bouquet first.
You know what was crazy about those jabs I would see on... They used to make it to Instagram, because I'm not on Twitter like that. They were so witty, so well thought out. So I used to wonder, how does he have time to sit and break this down? Because you never had a miss.
Yeah, the thing, what you do, you see, I think you can do it.
Yeah.
Most broadcasters can do it, but they're saying your brand.
Yeah, that's really much.
There's nothing like brand. Brand, they pay salary. There's nothing like brand. You know why I say that? Let me give you a representation. Every Big Brother person that went, which is the Big Brother winner that was well behaved and everything, that's afterwards made a career out of that, is the ones that quarrel, fight, are half naked, or break bottle on someone's head. You understand? Those are the ones that society reveres. So I said, I'm just answering. I'm answering in a classy way. Yeah. I don't go punish. I don't do like freeze. Yeah. Freeze with ham. Freeze is in a Ibadan boy. But the thing is, I answer with panache. So that's what made people come take pictures with me, because I'm Twitter savage.
Do you think that also sort of give you some relevance at the time when you were not on TV?
Well, I think so too, but I wasn't gunning for that.
Right.
Because now, if you notice, I've not trended in a while for Twitter savage. Everybody has left me. So I think I won the war. Because my message was, don't be insulting people. Just get to the point.
Right.
It's baseless arguing with 85% of Nigerians, because it's about emotion. They just argue with emotion. But I use logic, I use facts. And if I see it your way, I'll be like, you have a point. But they want to die on their opinion.
Post the show, you went to school to study. What were you up to? I wanted to know that period of silence, sort of.
Okay, that's silence. Yeah, I was producing. I went back to producing. I went back to learning. Then my wife then used to is an interior designer, so I had to study interior design photography. I had to learn interior design photography. I'll give you some of the pictures to display. So I had to study that, and I had to study filmmaking too. Then I did a couple of courses in Photoshop, Lightroom, and also I became a certified Da Vinci Resolve colorist,
Yeah, you
a
mentioned.
Black Magic Design certified colorist. I learned all that because I love images, I love film, and I learned how to, be a cinematographer also. So I know all these cameras and, so I saw that and I said, oh, okay, the guy has the Black Magic.
How long did it take you?
You see, the thing is, if you have passion, you just believe, because now you can't stop. You still have to continue studying. You can't say, I know it now. That's the problem with us.
Right.
I know it now. No. Anything you do, especially in the arts, you have to continue studying and replenishing. Ron Howard, who was the director of what was Ron Howard? One of these Star Wars series movies. He said that he learned something on YouTube. Even Roger Deakins, who's a well-decorated cinematographer, said he learned how to light Blade Runner. There's a water scene where water shadows are rippled across and moving and stuff like that. He said he saw it on YouTube on one architect. So that's what he took. So you have to. So I was doing a lot of stuff. I produced a TV program for Nimasa.
Right.
Nimasa this week for 2.5 years until the pandemic struck and a new DG came, so they gave it to someone else. I was doing that, producing.
The silence of not being in front of the screen but being behind the scenes, did it get to you?
It didn't get to me because my favorite medium is radio.
So you went back to radio?
No, I didn't. Radio doesn't pay, unfortunately.
Right.
So, and if I want to do a syndicated show, I need to have a sponsor from the get-go. So I need to have like a drink sponsor and say, okay, I'm going to syndicate it to all stations in Nigeria and everything. Then that I can do because it's worth it. Because radio, I have to, present, I have to edit, I have to put all the effects and everything. Then I have to package and I have to distribute. So it's quite difficult. So I need to get paid because I can't use all that time and not get paid. That's why radio, I love radio. I still look at radio. I say, oh, I love this.
Would you own a podcast eventually?
Oh, I'm working on a podcast, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you come on podcast, what will you do now?
There's space for everybody to fly. I come to your podcast, you come to mine.
Right.
Sometimes I can want to go on a vacation for 2 weeks, go to Ibiza or go to Swakopmund in Namibia. I'll just say...
Never heard of it.
I'll just say, Temisan, you're going to host my podcast for 2 weeks.
I'll be...
You understand? That's the camaraderie that should exist between
camaraderie.
Us. Yeah.
When I learned camaraderie, I was in SS1 when I learned camaraderie.
You see? That means if you read, I'm sure you have it in you.
Yeah.
Read, you're going to be... Because now that you're doing a podcast, it can be...
Yeah.
Like when I go to red carpets, do you see... What are you expecting? What are you expecting for tonight? I say, I'm expecting a drink. They better have my type of drink. Then I go to the next one. What are you expecting?
I beg, Frank, your bar is too high.
No. But why is everybody saying, what are you expecting? I came
what's
to the freaking...
giving? What's the look,
But that's why I love Adams, VJ Adams. VJ Adams knows how to interview. He knows the art of segueing into another. He knows how to do it differently.
Right.
VJ Adams, best red carpet host.
He's actually a great presenter.
Yeah.
I just said to myself.
Then I'm seeing that you too.
Yeah.
All those you're sipping, you are just doing disguise. You are actually a good presenter, well spoken.
Thank you.
But because you be worried now.
No, but I think that's the part that can never leave, right? So people,
you can't.
At the beginning when I started doing lots of pidgin English content, right? So when I was speaking English, you're like, hey, they speak English. But I'm like, I speak with my friends, I speak less pidgin English and I speak more English. But then, now the brand will they push.
Let me tell you, somebody that speaks impeccable English, most people would know. Okon Calabar.
Oh, I've heard him speak.
Okon Calabar.
Brilliant.
When he sat me down many years ago, I was telling me, I said, hey, I said, I'll say on the contrary, I have differing opinions about, the incursion of the government on this thing. They do talk. So next time he talked to me, he didn't allow me talk for 30 minutes stretch. I said, okay, I have to go back to this. He said, before you go, one last, they hold me. So next event, As I was just going, who did I see? Do I see him? We're looking eyeball to eyeball. I look at him in shock because I know this guy's going to hold me for the next 1 hour.
Yeah.
I take off because I can't. The guy is
He's brilliant. But I feel like the brand that sells for him is the other side.
Yeah, the thing is, that's why you could be everything at once. Okay, let's take Mr. Bean, Rowan Atkinson.
Right.
Mr. Bean, clumsy character and everything, but he's one of the most intelligent people. We're doing it for 2 hours. Relax.
So for us who are in this space, most of our, I don't know, let's say values or our identity is tied to the work that we do. And if after doing a show like that for like 13 years, and it's almost like Frank Edoho is not the Frank Edoho in front of us anymore. That's why somebody on Twitter can come and say, these old presenters, no matter how secure you are as a person, it gets to you because it feels like they've moved you from the pedestal that you used to be on, and there's new people coming into the scene, and people like new, right?
Oh, yes.
We cannot invalidate the fact that you're brilliant at what you do. That if they put you on a certain level, we know who's going to.
Yeah. But the new favorite is always the person that, and they now start. But I think it's wrong for people, especially with musicians, especially
it's worse with the musicians,
craft.
right?
Yes, to say that you are your career is dead. Someone that never had a career again, your career is dead. Do you know what it takes to do a song? Okay, look at this guy that did Millionaire. Cars.
Brilliant song.
But the song is too big.
It's probably bigger than him.
Yeah, it's big. How are you going to top that? Yeah. If Naughty by Nature couldn't top OPP, they tried with hip hop, but they couldn't top OPP. If, it's only special people that go. That's why I respect Davido, respect Wizkid,
Legends,
respect
Burna
Boy. You know what? They mastered the art of making you think that this is all flex, but they are working.
Yeah, they are.
So I did a lot of work in the background. I did a lot of work. I loved my producing. And I knew that, okay, once Be Millionaire is done, let me put myself in. So
Did you enjoy it, or it was a thing where
I enjoyed it because, see, let me tell you, TV is easier than radio. TV, wear a nice suit, put lip gloss, just have the voice. Hello and welcome. Nobody, they're not born. Obama will listen to you. Do you understand? So, but radio is more difficult for you to. That's why it's good for broadcasters to always go from radio to TV, because when you go from radio, come from a lot of words.
Right.
But the problem is that some radio presenters don't know how to convert. So they go there and start presenting like radio presenters on TV. TV is less words because it's visual, but radio is more words because you can't see the person. So I did a lot of stuff until even during the pandemic. I studied a lot and everything. I was helping helping my spouse with her business and all that. But in 2022, December 2022, oh man, my life was in shatters. I went into a dark hole. I wish I could tell you about it, but I can't.
You can't?
I can't.
For Tea With Tay. It's all about the tea.
No, but you know what? Nobody has heard this anywhere. Small. Okay, let me give you my personal life. Small.
Yeah. Because me, I've been skirting away from your personal life.
Why?
Well, because I just feel like, sometimes if you don't lead me there, because you said a lot, right? And with the guests that come on this show, I really want them to be so comfortable that they can spill the tea. So if you're not moving me there, I'm just like, okay, maybe we should not go there. I was going to talk about your personal life, but I was going to skirt around it enough not to be too,
No, let's just say I experienced dark times in my
You went through a divorce, right?
You said what?
You went through a divorce?
Yeah, first divorce. I've been married twice. First marriage to a broadcaster, Catherine. Very great
The
broadcaster.
actress as well.
Yeah. She
was
started
in-
acting.
she was in-
Housewives of
She's
Lagos.
brilliant.
Everybody loved her. And you know
She's
what?
phenomenal.
I admit that I was wrong, because when she wanted to go into acting, before we separated, I said, what kind of rubbish? You are a great broadcaster and everything. But when she did it, so we watched the show with my second wife.
Mhm.
We sat down and watched the show, and I was like, oh, okay. She's a great. I said, wow,
Just tell me
I
about
was
the
wrong.
dynamic. Watching your first wife, were they friends?
No, well, not that they were enemies.
Right.
Yeah, and everything. So let me give you a tip. So I think for my second marriage, which I put a lot into, and we put a lot into each other and everything, the crisis I was talking about was based on that.
Right.
The second one.
Yeah.
That's all I can tell you.
Okay, you might not really go into details, right? But I've realized that men also, when they go through divorce, it's not the woman who suffers the most. It's men who also feel like they failed. And this was your second marriage failing.
Second marriage, yeah. And everybody would say the common denominator is you. That means you are the problem.
So did it affect your identity? Do you think the parts of you that you needed to engage?
I think, the thing is this, if you love someone so much, then it doesn't work out. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? I ask myself, why do I hurt so much? Oh, I love them so much. I poured everything into them. Now, I'm not saying that, I'm a saint.
Right.
But especially if I think that the thing that happened, it wasn't supposed to happen because it was their fault, not mine. But I'm not saying I'm a saint. But the thing is, because you love them so much, you start basing your happiness on them. That's why I say, you see, when you get married, people cannot blame you for marrying wrongly. Because at the beginning, it's fireworks.
Right.
Now you have to prepare, both of you, psychologically have to prepare for the stage where it's just like a plateau.
Yes.
It was just fireworks and everything. All of a sudden, you'll be like, this guy farts in his sleep.
Yeah.
He snores.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, no, this one, this. So you have to know that it's a gamble. Even if you are sure. Do you know it's possible that someone will love you at the beginning, but at the end they will hate you? Now, at the end, you now start saying they didn't love me. No. They loved you at that time.
Or who you were at the time.
That time, who you were or who they were.
Oh, so my pastor always says this, that, marriage is the only... Marriage certificate is the only certificate you get not after the exam, at the beginning of the exam.
Who's your pastor again?
Flourish.
Oh, FP. Oh, man.
So, because it means that you get a marriage certificate saying, these people are married, but you start to work it and do the examination.
So they give you the certificate before you actually do the examination. So they trust that since you've come through to have this union, you are going to work forever, for better, for worse, for rich or for poor, till death do you part. But nowadays, it's not like that.
So, Uncle Frank, I've never been married. I don't think I've had a successful relationship. But this is what I know about human beings and even just being with each other is that. So when people say they go through a divorce and they try to blame the man or the woman, I really don't lean into any side, because I feel like people exist in their own right, and there's some things that partnerships would do to you. There's some emotions that partnerships would unravel. There's some spaces that you get into where the partnership would trigger the demons that you've always had.
Listen to me. See, when people say, oh, we meet each other halfway, it is not possible for you in any partnership, be it business, be it spousal, that you could meet each other halfway. You cannot. You cannot be 50-50. So one person will be more than the other. Now, when you go in based on this, you have to think about that too. Sometimes your partner might be 20% and you are 80%.
Right.
Now, the reason for marriage is that since you are married, even though they are giving you 20, or you are giving them 20,
Mm-hmm.
she should wait. She should endure. You two should endure. That's why you took the vows. It's not like boyfriend and girlfriend. At this rate, I even feel boyfriend and girlfriends, they are more, they are not more loyal to each other than married people.
Well, I think that you can't come into marriage looking for joy and happiness. You have to come whole. And part of the reason why a lot of people who get married or are in relationships face hot water or face some turmoil in their relationships is because they come in expecting love. It's that dependence, right? And after a while, you realize that your partner cannot offer you love. You have to come whole. They have to come and engage them.
How do you know all these things? You're not even been married.
Yeah, because I read these things and I have friends who I therapize.
Oh.
You know? But I'm saying that when I look at people who have issues in their marriages, is that you probably thought that the marriage was going to fix a void that's there, but your partner can only do so much.
Listen to me. The thing about marriage is very, very easy.
Mm-hmm.
If you go into marriage knowing that it's not a switch that solves all the excesses you used to experience in courtship.
Or the trauma.
And the trauma. Yeah. You have to know that, okay, so any what you see of your partner, you now have to estimate and say they're going to go worse in marriage.
Ooh.
Not the other way around. Because what's going to, you've passed the honeymoon stage and everything. Now you've got, so everybody now, you've crossed the Rubicon. So everybody knows that, hey, we're married now, we are stuck.
It's time to show you my bad character.
Mm-hmm. So now, who is the person that will prevail? Now, if one person prevails, chances are the other person will take them for granted. Chances are, unless the person is in sound body, mind, and spirit, and, the person will now know, okay, maybe, the person will now know that, look, you know what? I'm not going to take this person for granted for going above and beyond for me.
Yes. So, Uncle Frank, can I say that?
Mm-hmm.
The way we date in Nigeria is so flawed. It's based on externals. It's based on what looks good. It's look and feel, right? If the relationships that we had in Nigeria were properly done, where you're meeting somebody, so after the honeymoon phase passes, you're trying to get into them. What are they about? Their trauma. Why did they act the way they do? What triggers them? If courtship phase can be about learning about your partner to the point where they might not be 100 by the time you're getting married, but you already have the necessary tools to work with them when you get into marriage.
Exactly.
But it's always money, wigs. How does it look?
No. I think
not for you. Maybe it's mature dating. I'm just saying, like, even for my generation, right?
Okay, your generation, yeah.
Look and feel. It might not even just be money.
I don't know how your generation is going to really survive.
It's terrible, because me, I never see who go love me, and I'm almost going to be 30 years.
Tall, dark, and handsome as you are.
Hey, my brother. Uncle Frank, no worry. Street's tough. Even them when they're behind, they don't date anybody. They're always doing like situationships.
No, I think it's all vibes and fun now.
It's vibes and inshallah, because it's also like a lot of us from my generation, there's a lot of trauma.
Okay.
And we're not ready to emote. Like,
but which trauma is there, please? More trauma than...
So some people saw their parents married in a way where they were like, I'm never going to be married like this.
Okay.
Some people like me were not, what's the word? We don't know how to receive love because we're not given the adequate love that we needed. True. So if you true love in our face, if you dodge them because what is this?
Because it's unfamiliar.
It's unfamiliar. And there's a lot of people in this generation like that way. Mother and father were probably working so hard, they were not available for them. There's a lot of over dependency on even the person they're dating. So the trauma pattern can take two ways, right? It can be that they're overly dependent or overly absent emotionally.
Exactly.
But it has to be a balance for you to be able to
see. It used to be that marriage would be the thing that would say, you know what, finally, you as my partner, you qualify for me going above and beyond for you.
Right.
Even if you are showing rubbish character, you are all over the place. You are exhibiting shenanigans. I will have patience with you. But sometimes, we are not Jesus. Our patience will get to the point that we get to the elastic limit and it breaks. And you're like, so that's why one person has to go. Now, unfortunately, your generation, you guys don't have patience. And I don't blame you because you came in a generation where we were stuffing knowledge in our head. Now you have AI. You don't need to learn. So now, unconsciously, you are transferring that to marriage. You feel there must be a button for solving something. Quick fix.
It's tricky, but I think like, even the lack of patience is more from, I'm so sorry to my queens, it's more from the girls that experience their mothers bear so much in relationships, bear so much in the marriages. So the educated girl, the girl who has her own means to survive, only wants to do so much. She's not going to. That's why they call out cheating faster now. They call out bad behavior faster now because if you ask the girls, they don't want to take what their mother took.
Exactly.
So, but I maintain that the reason why a lot of marriages worked back in the day was that the mothers were offering the 80%, the fathers were doing 20%.
Absolutely. But now things have changed.
In my own opinion, you have to meet halfway.
You can't meet an exact halfway point.
So a man cannot be badly behaved and because she's a woman, you're going to indulge her.
No. Nowadays, women are so independent that they go, if you do it, I'm going to do it too. You know why? Because they're self-sufficient now.
Right.
They're making money of their own. Those days, our mothers may have been fully dependent upon the patriarch for...
Literally the reason why some of them stayed.
So some of them stayed. And also they look at their children and all that and say, okay, you know what, I stayed for you guys. But nowadays, everybody's very independent.
Yeah.
And, you know, marriages are suffering. So what's the use of getting married if you can't go above and beyond for your partner, or if your partner can do vice versa for you?
Right.
You know, so many people think, that's why I laugh at people that want to tell people you failed at marriage. You understand? You are.
I think so. Do that.
Ignorant.
People say that to you.
No, they used to say that now before. They used to say that. I'm sure they're going to say that again. But it doesn't perturb me. It doesn't perturb me because marriage is two, not one. Now, anything that I do, I'm responsible wholly for it because I did myself. But if I go into a partnership, supposing you go into a business partnership and your business partner starts stealing money or duping people and they rope you in, and then they have to let you go because you didn't do anything. It was him.
Right.
You understand? So it's the same thing as the partnership in marriage. There are two people. It can go berserk in a way. You see, when someone says they love you, people mistake it to mean I will always love you.
Right.
It's not that. When someone says I love you, they are saying the truth. Because later you say, I don't think you really loved me. No, they loved you at that point. Now, maybe something happened. Maybe time, maybe tears, maybe, you know, mishaps.
Their own healing.
Yes, their own healing and everything. So the thing I have thought about, and I advise men, and I advise even women, is master the art of making yourself happy don't be dependent on a partner. Oh, for better, for worse, you're romantic and everything. Now you're not going to depend your happiness on somebody that will likely wake up in the morning one day and look at you and you look like a gargoyle. And they'll say, how did I end up with this twat? With this idiot. How did I end up with this idiot? And that's the thing. For marriage to have longevity or even any other relationship, you have to look at the person every time from a new perspective.
Uncle Frank, with benefit of hindsight and with 2 marriages under your belt, right? Were there things that you thought that you could have handled better? Are there things that you know now that you're working on?
Yes. The thing is that don't leave anything to chance. Don't leave your partner, and I'm talking about both male and female, don't leave your partner to just be cast adrift on an open. Don't give them too much freedom. And I used to believe that I have to give you freedom to know who you are. But, you know, and vice versa. And the thing is this, you have to show restraint sometimes. Because in spite of this, some people say, no, you are controlling or you have low self-esteem because you are trying to tell me not to go here, not to go. It's not about that. Temptation is so much. I watched in one movie, they said if you dance with the devil often, he's going to come back home with you. So, well, are you going to always expose yourself? So your partner, you're not only a partner, you should also be the tethering factor that, hey, I'm going out the night on the girl and everything. Where are you going to? I'm going to 3 nightclubs and everything. You're like, stay at home. Say, but you allowed me to go to them. I say, yeah, I don't feel like stay your ass at home. Stay. You stay. You don't know what good your partner has done. You're not that you're going to be doing it every time, but you have to have small control. Like me, I believe.
But is that not a lack of trust where...
is that not a lack
that stay
of...
at home is probably stemming from a
I'm
lack
not
of
talking
trust.
about last time. It's not that every time, go. Every time, go. Every time, go. Every time,
sometimes
go.
discretion, right?
Yes.
Right.
You have to sometimes, even though there's no reason for it, sit your ass back at home. Put Netflix. Let's watch a boring movie. So that's it. So I've realized that. So if maybe I would have been more controlling.
Right.
But at the same time, nobody's perfect, even me. You know, these things happen. I've understood it now. And I have, you know how I'm free from all of it. I've mastered the ability to just be happy. So I wake up in the morning and the first thing after praying, I'm thinking, what musical mood am I in now while I go make my tea?
Right.
What musical mood? I say, all right, Nathaniel Bassi. Which Nathaniel Bassi? Is it the new Nathaniel Bassi or the old Nathaniel Bassi? These things that I'm doing edify me.
Yeah.
So you look for yourself.
So you're happy by yourself.
I'm happy by yourself. Yeah, I love music. I love watching a lot of movies. I love writing. You know, I love writing. I love going out doing my work. I love shoes. I didn't have shoes in university, so I took revenge when I started working.
Okay, Jonathan.
I bought a lot. Jonathan didn't take revenge on shoes. Just say, oh, I didn't have shoes, and that's it. My own, I didn't have shoes. I will show shoes.
Right.
So I'm like a shoe person, fashion person, and now I just do the things that, you know, make me happy. My children, converse with them. My son is 21. He's at, he's studying mass communications. I told him, I said, mass communications? Why are you studying mass communications? It's a waste. He said, but that's what you're doing. I said, yeah, but I never studied it. I never studied it. I told her, you know the irony? In your university, they're going to call me when you're in final year to come and lecture you. And I didn't study, and you're the one that studied.
And you've been living with me for 21 years.
Yes. So
you could have gone to school here.
Yeah.
I'm happy that you've also grown as like a person, you know, with all that has happened from career to marriage to even just raising kids. I feel like
maybe I'm not good at marriage. Maybe I'm not good at marriage. I must confess.
You think some people are not good at it? I'm so scared.
No, sometimes,
And I'm going to be very honest with you. So when I look at my life and how dating is for me, I'm just like, when I go find love of my life?
See, let me tell you, when you find the love of your life, you will know. But nobody could tell you.
I don't mean to be shady, Uncle Frank, but you had to like...
soulmates
in your lifetime.
No, not soulmates.
Also, love of your life is different from your soulmate.
Yeah. Love of your life is different. You see, love of your life. That means anytime you think about love, you think about that person.
Right. It doesn't mean that you stay with that person.
No, it doesn't mean. But soulmate is, you are saying something like, you know what would be nice? If what I'm craving now is afang soup. And if I wanted to mix it, then your soulmate said, you mix it with stew, right?
Like, where have you been all my life? Right.
You know, stuff like that. You finish sentences, then they understand you. When you are angry, every other person is saying, why are you behaving like this? But your soulmate is laughing at you. He's laughing. You are angry. Then you look at it and say, why are you laughing? Come on. You just want a rub on the head. Yes. They know you.
So does that validate the statement that a lot of us are not married to our soulmates?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. And I realized that because actually, I think after 2 failed, I now chanced upon somebody who looked like my soulmate and everything. I'll be like, I beg.
I beg.
I said, I'm tired of you. I'm tired of this world. I'm tired. I don't want to have anything to do with it. But the person is like my soulmate. So I'm going through, stuff now, but I'm not going to. I want to say.
Is it the person you called?
You said what?
I smelt it.
You this guy.
I didn't smell
all that tea where you did.
And you guys trying to be so platonic. I'm like,
all the.
This
because
video call is so intense.
No, the thing is, with somebody like me, I have the skill of knowing if I leave, if like my marriage, I know that I went above and beyond for the 2 marriages.
Right.
I know that I went above and beyond. If you look, I carry my partner, I can abandon everything, but you don't blame them. You can't blame someone if they fall out of love with you, fall out of love. Because now, the thing is, take Kaka. You know Kaka, the footballer.
Heard of him?
Kaka, AC Milan footballer. Guy is a Brazilian, looks as handsome as an Indian. You know what? Very handsome guy. Even when he retired from football, still handsome. His wife divorced him. Why? You know what she said? He is too good.
For me.
He is too good. That's why.
Would you say that in your own case?
I'll take a commercial break. I'll be right back.
But you know what I would say about this person that I think that you're going to be with? I feel like I don't know her like that, but she looks like she's intense and you guys would go well.
Are you trying to make me with somebody?
Well, I think that she's also a lover girl from afar, because I've seen her do love.
Do you think that after 2 failed, I'll now be in a hurry to?
That's what I'm saying. Like, just even
the flow.
You don't born.
They don't born.
You've been a star. You've had
my son is graduating next year. My daughter, second daughter, is in a university studying medicine.
Right.
I wish my dad were alive for that.
Right.
I'll tell her. I'll tell him like, hey, I didn't make your medicine, but you know what? Your granddaughter is,
right,
and stuff like that.
I'm so glad. I mean, I'm glad. I think that with age, you just have to figure things out. And I'm not trying to say don't get married again.
No, I've mastered the art of not transferring what happened in the previous one into the next, because I'll still remain the same.
Right.
I feel maybe I now have like an outlook in terms of marriage. And it's not, first of all, it's not by force. If you're a lady and you are in close to your 40s and you're not married, don't worry about it, because you don't even know what you're getting into.
Right.
Because you might have good intentions, but your partner will just go off on a tangent.
Right.
So you don't know. You don't know.
I feel like at some points, it's the most important thing is companionship. What you have now is companionship. I feel like you've done the career, you've done the marriage, you have kids. I feel like you should just enjoy the companionship. And if it leads you into
another union, so that I can
the hat trick of marriage,
so that I can fail for 3 times. 3 times.
If you fail the 3rd time, Uncle Frank.
No. I
will lay hands on you.
No. Actually, what I'm doing, the most important thing for men that are going through this is find happiness in yourself.
Right.
Find yourself. Not because you are married, you will stop doing all the things that make you who you are, because after all, that's what your partner fell in love with.
Right.
Yeah, you can't stop those things. You can't stop, you had a 6-pack before you, all of a sudden you have
It's really tough, right? Because we don't talk about that enough, right? Because sometimes people fall in love with the idea of you're not really the you.
That is it. So if
you stop having 6-pack after, because your belly go big now, you go drink beer, you go face life
drink beer, but you get to still go gym.
Hey, but what if you're now in your 50s? Because Uncle, you used to have a 6-pack at some point.
No. I had a 6-pack, but the problem with my 6-pack is that when I have a 6-pack, my face has a 6-pack. I look very ugly and dry. So I have to balance. I have to do yo this. Then when I get this thing, I say, you know what? Let me be like this.
So imagine somebody married you not for for divorce for a 6-pack, she would have divorced you long
You can't
time.
marry for a 6-pack. That's the thing.
Well,
You
people
marry for
do.
friends. Yeah, people do. But that's why they end up,
Yeah.
divorced. I don't know what my reasons are for not succeeding, but I know that there is love. I know that there's true partnership. But the problem is there are so many permutations and combinations that you end up either meeting the wrong person, meet the right person that is right now, but wrong later. Or, there are so many things. But I just look at it with a pinch of salt. And anything that life has to offer, I will take. But one thing I do know is that I am happy by myself.
I appreciate that. That's going to end the show today, and I'm rooting for you. I feel like you're an amazing talent. I feel like you're a great man. And
Thank you.
Love is something that I would wish upon you. So
I mean, if it fails, I have love of my children too.
Yeah, but I'm saying that now that you've figured out happiness by yourself,
yes,
I'm hoping that the right love comes along and it makes up for all the marriages that didn't work. So
well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Uncle Frank, for coming to my show. Thank you, Mr. Frank Edoho.
No, why try Frank? You will not die.
I might.
Just say thank you, Frank. And say it with fluidity.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Oh God, let's move to the quick fire round. I respect my elders.
Okay.
This is Okoro talking.
All right, anyway, let's do it.
So we have quick questions. It's either or, you just answer tea or coffee?
Coffee. Latte or mocha?
Oh, I love a latte.
Latte or mocha? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a tea sipper, but I love a latte.
But I don't
rest. Your guilty pleasure show.
My guilty pleasure show.
Right.
Californication.
That's old.
I'm old.
Well, yeah, you have a point.
That's Dave Duchovny.
Right.
Dave Duchovny and who was the lady there?
These names, I don't even know these names.
Then also the one that I don't want anybody to know that I'm going to give you an exclusive on, Gossip Girl. I was in love with Leighton Meester. That's Blair. XO.
Oh.
That girl, I love that girl.
Blair Waldorf. Crazy times, guys. Okay, so you get one lifeline in life. Which one are you picking? 50-50, phone a friend, or ask the audience?
50-50, definitely, because a friend is more dangerous than an enemy. You know why? Because an enemy, you know that an enemy cannot betray you.
Okay, so Lagos or Calabar?
I'm sorry, Calabar, but Lagos. If you stay in Calabar, you feel like you're on vacation.
I swear.
Calabar is too beautiful. The food, the afang soup is off the charts.
Your go-to comfort food?
Afang soup.
Is it?
Afang soup. Don't even waste time.
If you weren't doing broadcasting or media, what would you be?
Footballer. I'm a maestro in football, midfield maestro. Ask now.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I play. I'm the best passer. They call me Fabregas. Best passer in the midfield. The last time we played Chelsea fans and everything, we won. We won because of me. I even have the picture.
Fabregas is
the midfielder, and he's the standard for passing. Yeah. Let me show you my medal. Because, people don't believe me when I say, they say, you don't know how to play ball. But
this has to be my favorite episode, guys.
It should be.
It's so unhinged.
Yeah, it should be.
Delete forever, IG or TikTok?
TikTok. No. Delete forever. IG. TikTok is the best app in the world.
The most ridiculous rumor you've heard about yourself?
That they fired me from Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. And I said, you don't fire me, I fire you.
Describe your vibe in 3 words.
My vibe. Cantankerous. Sociable. Fun.
Okay, that explains it. So the last one, if your life were a game show, what would it be called?
If my life were a game show based on what I've gone through, I think my life would be Jeopardy.
Is it?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to just make us satisfied by saying
Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? No. It's Jeopardy.
I respect you a lot, and what I would say is that I feel like whatever has happened in the past, you're forging ahead, you know.
Oh yes.
You look like you're happy. I want to believe that you're happier.
Oh, you won't believe it. If you saw me a year before now, I wouldn't be this.
Because your energy is so different. Every time I run into you, it's really different.
Yes.
And also, like, I feel like you're also back in the scene. Because everywhere I turn, Frank Edoho is there. Not as a savage.
I was on Pella's show.
Yes.
Pella. How do you people? That guy has 11.2 million followers on TikTok.
What's the dynamic?
But watching him, so he calls me and he starts going up and down. I said, I want to see where this is. And I said, at the end, do they take you to the hospital? Because your energy is all over the place and everything. So anybody that calls me and says he wants to do something, when you called me, I say, hey, I'm going to do it because I enjoy your content. And a couple of people I did with Shaggy, I did with Macaroni, you know, I did with Bayou, I did with also Ashmush, yes, I did with her. So I just generally lend my presence to people, not because I want to stay relevant. So, but I just do it for the fun of it. The one I enjoyed most, the ones, Macaroni and Bayou. You know, that Bayou thing, everybody jumped on it and everything.
Would you admit that it's sort of helping you stay relevant?
No. I'm Frank Edoho.
And that's the end of my show.